This offense does not need a playmaker. They need a distributor who's durable. And I said, Kirk Cousins, roll your eyes, but Minnesota needs draft capital. Minnesota has hit a wall. Derek Carr. Derek Carr is available. He's played behind some bad O-lines, and you start looking at it and you go, oh, I don't know. But I look at this offense and I look at San Francisco's. They don't need Josh Allen. That's not what they do. They made Matt Ryan an MVP with this offense. Matt Schaub was a Pro Bowler. If they move off Tua and your options were Carr, maybe a call to Kirk Cousins, Garoppolo, Brady, do you believe there's a favorite in the clubhouse? Maybe Daniel Jones with the New York Giants is somebody to think about. Is there in your head, Channing, that's the guy they'd call first?
I was listening from the last or earlier this segment. You're talking about Kirk Cousins like this guy is something special, Colin. I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan, but you talk about guys that's been in the system and been successful. Jimmy Garoppolo was in the system and successful.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He's not going to do too much. The Daniel Jones taking off running, the athleticism, I don't think they really need that. Now, when you throw an athletic guy in there and teach him when to use it, it would be good. But my top two guys would be Jimmy G and Derek Carr. Like, Derek Carr is not washed. The Raiders right now are doing him wrong. Josh McDaniels, he doesn't know what's going on if Bill Belichick's not around him. But I would say Derek Carr, Jimmy G, you put them in that system. They tell you where the ball is going. We know what Kyle Shanahan does. We know what Mike McDaniel does when they scheme this stuff up. It looks great when it's working. It looks great when the quarterback is making those quick decisions. And I think Jimmy G and Derek Carr are capable of playing a system that the Dolphins have implemented, and it comes right back from the 49ers where McDaniel was before. But I would say those are my top two if they're available, and I think both of them are this offseason, seeing what the Raiders did to Derek Carr and Jimmy G sitting out there as a lame duck right now.
So the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, Michigan guy, Harbaugh is now all sorts of stuff is leaking. And I said, not all college football coaches see the world similarly. I think the coach of Tulane winning a bowl game, that is his national championship. The coach of Oklahoma State beating the Sooners, winning the Big 12, that's his national championship. I look at Harbaugh and his love for Michigan, and I think he privately thinks, listen, I can't beat these SEC teams. They have 25 NFL guys on it, but I have restored Michigan to the king of the Big Ten over the team I hate, Ohio State. I do believe, to a large degree, he feels mission accomplished, and I'm okay with that. I think he's going to go to the NFL. For, outsider a little bit, but knowing Stephen Ross and his workings and the Michigan connection, he's not going to go to Miami, obviously. Your gut feeling on what Harbaugh does?
I think he goes back to the NFL. Colin, it's unfinished business. This man was 44-19-1. Lost 2 NFC championship games, lost a Super Bowl to the Ravens. 3 years, back-to-back double-digit wins, is starting his career as a coach. It's unfinished business. Saban will never go back. I played for Saban. He walked in the NFL and said, no, I don't want to coach these opinionated millionaires. I'm going to go back and beat up on these little kids. He didn't want to deal with the grown men.
Right.
I think Harbaugh, his success he had being on the doorstep of a championship, going back to college, to your point, going to his alma mater and getting them back on top, he has to come back for that unfinished business. You know the Harbaughs, all the way to their dad, they don't give up. And I think Harbaugh feels as if he quit right on this doorstep of winning that big championship. And I do think he will be a successful NFL coach, as we've seen. The record speaks for itself.
You were a 6-year starting linebacker, a couple of years, over 100-plus tackles. The AFC, right, and this is something the Dolphins have to think about. If they were in the NFC, it's different. The AFC now has Burrow and Herbert. Now, Deshaun has always been pretty good. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence. You know, if you're the Dolphins, that's the roadblock to get to an AFC championship. When you look at all these young quarterbacks, is there one, as a former linebacker, is there one that's a little underrated to you? I think Herbert, because he plays with the Chargers, doesn't get nearly the love. He played at Oregon. A lot of the country didn't see him. What do you make of all the young quarterbacks? Is there one that you really think is a former linebacker you really like?
The underrated guy, I would say, just like flat out, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, Colin. But the guy that I think was dealt a bad hand was Trevor Lawrence. He is super talented. You're seeing it now when he has any sort of a competent head coach. I'm a Gator. Urban Meyer gave us 2 national championships. Urban Meyer should have never been an NFL head coach, and we saw that by his actions when he was a coach. We won't get back into it. Trevor Lawrence was in there. Elementary offense. Oh, this is a matchup-based thing. No, coach, Urban. He gets back, and now you're seeing it. Slowly but surely, every single game, Trevor's getting better. I believe in the next couple of years, we will be talking about Trevor Lawrence as we talk about a Josh Allen. I think he can take over a Justin Herbert. Herbert is a very talented man, and it seemed as if the Dolphins might have made a mistake with that pick in 5 and 6 with Herbert and Tua. But I would say Trevor Lawrence is that guy that he gets brought up last in a lot of conversations. I believe in the next year or two, he will be starting to get up there with the Mahomes conversations, with those Josh Allen conversations, because he is amazing talent. And you talk about, I heard you talking earlier about the Mac Jones body language. It's called affluenza. You've been given too much. You have too much money. You're a little different. I was around a bunch of rich dudes growing up, and I played with rich guys, and they just have this little demeanor to them, and you know it gets to you. You brought up Jay Cutler. I want to bring up Josh Allen in this conversation. Kyler Murray was a trust fund baby. There are guys that have money and don't act like it. Zach Thomas, I don't know if Zach wants me to tell this to the world. Zach Thomas's dad's a billionaire, and Zach Thomas was one of the hardest workers I ever touched the field with. It didn't get to him. That affluenza gets to somebody. It did not get to Trevor Lawrence. And I'm gonna see Trevor Lawrence being spoke about like some of those top NFL quarterbacks in the next year or two.
Channing, you just crush it everywhere. You got a podcast, a radio show with Mark Hochman, all of it good. Always do your homework. Really appreciate it, Channing. You're totally honest. And I just love having you on the show. Thank you on a busy guy making yourself available for us. Thank you so much, man.
Colin, it's an honor, man. Anytime, give me a call. Your staff is amazing. Y'all are amazing. I watch every single day, bro. Thank you so much.
All right, Channing Crowder, who's right now has got a really nice media career. A lot of things to say. The Miami situation is really interesting because I've said this before. I had an agent once that told me this. Companies make a decision on you a year before you find out. And I think you're having conversations in the building right now, and you're looking in Miami, and you're like, Burrow and Allen and Lamar, and you start naming Herbert and this and that. And I mean, Deshaun, for you people out there, if somebody crosses their arms, that's rejection. They don't like what you're saying. It's a defensive pose. So body language, there are body language experts out there. Attorneys tell their clients, dress nicely, don't roll your eyes, don't shrug your shoulders for this or that. So body language matters. And I've been saying this for years on this show, and I'm always amazed at the pushback. Jay Cutler was somebody I used to bang on all the time for terrible body language. We later found out a lot of teammates didn't like him. It was a tell. In poker, they call it a tell. For years, Aaron Rodgers, 10 years ago, I'm like, his body language is awful. And we found out Aaron's difficult and prickly and moody. Kyler Murray's body language stinks. We found out he alienates even Larry Fitzgerald. Body language is real. So Boomer Esiason on radio in New York, WFAN, said he just can't stand the Patriots' body language with Mac Jones.
Here's the thing that I really dislike about Mac Jones, if you want to get to the root of it. His body language, his facial expressions, his gyrations on the field piss me off. Body language for a quarterback is so important. And I hate when quarterbacks sulk on the sideline. You know, they have to be above all of that. They have to have the backbone. They have to have the leadership bone. They have to be able to look guys in the face, know what they're doing. You know, don't come off with your hands in the air.
And now it's easy to say, and I have defended Mac Jones saying they're screwing with his career. I understand he's angry. But Trevor Lawrence was dealt a horrible hand with Urban Meyer first year in Jacksonville. His body language wasn't awful. Let's be honest about Tua. The first 2 years, I mean, his coach wanted him out of the building, didn't want him in the franchise. He was always great at the podium. He was always great with body language. That's never been an issue. So I do think it's gotten worse and worse. Sometimes Matt comes off as a spoiled brat. I have always defended quarterbacks on being emotional. Like I like them. If they have to yell at a coach or yell at a teammate, I'm okay. Brady's done it. I'm okay with that. But the body language for Mac, there's a lot of finger pointing. I don't think it's great. He defended himself on Boston morning radio.
For me, it's just trying to channel my competitiveness in a good way and just continue to be Mac. Obviously, want to have a respect for everybody that plays in this league and coaches in this league. So I'm definitely things I can get better at. And just like with execution of football plays, it's the same idea, just trying to grow and earn the respect of people. Obviously, most importantly, in the building.
I mean, we have to be honest about it. He was a child actor. He goes to Alabama. He's a great high school quarterback. He had a very good rookie year. This is the first time maybe in his life he's losing a lot. Things aren't going his way. They called him Mac